Michael Jordan and his team finally claps back at LeBron James. So Michael Jordan has reportedly broken Klutch Sports. Y'all have been sending me a lot of stuff about Klutch here and there, but I have no clue about Klutch at all. It's going to be my first video on Klutch and what they've been doing with the media stuff, which y'all been telling me. So I'm very interested in this video. What's good, YouTube? What you got? Michael Jordan has broken Klutch Sports. Let's get right into this video. I'm excited for it. Hope y'all are too. Hold on, let me fix this thing real quick. Got y'all, you know what I'm saying? See, I can see behind me.
Quote from the longtime agent of Jordan saying, I really liked LeBron, but I think if Jordan had cherry-picked what teams he wanted to be on and two other superstars, he would have won 15 championships.
I just thought that was very unfair and a little beneath David Falk for a number of reasons. And so we can't have revisionist history, and we all want to.
I know that ain't who I think it is.
But, you know, the big three thing has never really worked. And you say, well, what happened in Miami? That wasn't really a big three. Again, the cherry pick.
What? Who is this? Miami wasn't a big three? Nah, you're chatting, bro.
I've discussed that. The two other superstars. Michael never had to leave.
That's the whole point.
This stuff.
Yo, he's an idiot. This dude, is he defending LeBron James and saying, so he's defending LeBron James, and this is my first ever impression of him, right? Like, imagine your first impression as a basketball fan of somebody is, they're defending LeBron James, one, and two, they're defending LeBron James by saying the big three in Miami wasn't the big three, and then three saying that Jordan never had to leave as a negative. You just said a positive for Jordan, and you just said something dumb. Yeah, I'm not taking his advice on anything. He said the rest of the video probably after that. What?
And you got to stay together if you got the guts, and you don't find the first door and run out of it.
When it comes to NBA fans, one thing that's universally admired and respected is a superstar player who spends their entire prime with one franchise. Now, being with that franchise, they take them from a mid-tier team, a pretty good team, to a championship team. Looking at the vast majority of NBA superstars, that's how it's always been done. The 1980s, Magic and Bird. The 90s, of course, you had Jordan. The 2000s, Kobe and Duncan. Then in the 2010s, 2020s, guys like Curry, Jokic, as well as Giannis. Players who opt for that route to win championships, in the end, they get much more respect. As guys like Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, and James Harden, to name a few, are essentially mercenaries hunting for titles on super teams and cherry-picking their own rosters.
Quote from the longtime agent of Jordan saying, I really liked LeBron, but I think if Jordan had cherry-picked what teams he wanted to be on and two other superstars, he would have won 15 championships.
Correct!
Now look, David Falk saying Jordan could have 15 championships if he cherry-picked rosters, jumped ship, and really meddled in the front office. That might be stretching it. But the thing is, Falk's overall point, it still rings true. For a guy like Jordan who had 6 championships, there were still opportunities here and there to act. And even looking at 1990, pre-Jordan's championships, he could have jumped ship after numerous failures versus the bad boy Pistons.
You know, sadly, I'm disappointed, because I wanted to go further. But I got to accept the season that we played. We had a good season. We got this far. We got to look forward to next season. That's the only thing we can do.
I'm not leaving.
I'm not fucking leaving! Michael Jordan in 1990 and LeBron James in 2010, they were in eerily similar spots. But a guy like Jordan stuck it out, stayed with the team. LeBron James jumped ship, said, I'll take the easy way.
Move this man!
If Jordan could just jump ship here and there whenever he wanted to, recycle rosters, trade certain players, get younger players in, older players out, he could have gotten 7, 8, 9, heck, even 10 championships. But if Jordan did that, his overall legacy would be looked at a lot different. For guys like LeBron, KD, Kawhi, the modern-day superstar players who jump ship so often, that's how we should look at them. Yes, the rings count, but it's a tad bit different.
Them boys got
and even
smacked.
looking at LeBron himself, he admits it openly. If he didn't join the Big Three Heat, he would have 2 less championships.
To show how dominant he would have been in Miami, saying, damn.
You're right. I would still be chosen. Ain't nothing changing that. Maybe Les Rings would dominate from start to finish. That boy Bron said he's chosen. Wow.
Right, I still would be. I'm chosen. Ain't nothing changing that. Maybe less rings.
What did you just say?
Nothing changing that. Maybe less rings.
LeBron, I'm not so sure. Had you not gone to Miami, how do I make a compelling case? And I can argue any case before the Supreme Court. How do I make a case that he's a top 5 player if he doesn't go to Miami?
That's Shay Sharp right there. That's like one of LeBron's biggest Glazers, biggest fans. And he's saying that. Is that real?
So that right there is LeBron's biggest cheerleader, Shannon Sharp, saying what everyone knows. LeBron James' path to winning championships, he needed the Heat, and he needed to form super teams. The exact same thing with Kevin Durant. For someone like Jordan, he didn't need that, and he didn't do that. That's why his path to his rings is 10 times more impressive. And looking back at David Falk's comments, the one guy who got really upset, really rattled by the truth, was indeed Rich Paul, LeBron's right-hand stooge.
David Falk said something the other day about LeBron cherry picking. I just thought that was very unfair and a little beneath David Falk for a number of reasons. And so we can't have revisionist history, and we all want.
Why is he being manipulative? I think that's very unfair and something else beneath David Falk. How are you going to tell somebody what's beneath them? He's being manipulative already with his argument.
Just determine who's the GOAT and who's the best.
I know that ain't who I think it is.
We can't have revisionist history.
Flashback.
The Big Three thing has never really worked, and you say, well, what happened in Miami? That wasn't really a Big Three.
Now, stopping that right there very, very quickly, Rich Paul in this clip, just super, super ironic. He wants fans, media members, David Falk, to stop revising history. In case you guys missed it, Rich Paul just a couple of weeks ago said LeBron's Big Three Heat, they weren't a super team. If anyone's revising history, it's Rich Paul, LeBron James, and the entire Klutch Sports enterprise.
Dang, and the thing about that is LeBron's right-hand man, as he said. And he really trying to say that wasn't a Big Three. And LeBron probably is also in on that. Just discrediting his teammate. And they're probably saying it's Bosh. That's messed up, man. You're just trying to discredit another man's career, saying that he's not as good as he should be. He's not part of the Big Three. That's messed up, bro.
And again, when you look at that, right? Again, the cherry pick, I've discussed that. The 2 other superstars, Michael never had to leave. Michael's never been the underdog in any finals. Not one time.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
So stopping Rich Paul right there,
I'm confused. Like, isn't that the goal? Like, it's the goal to be the one going into the finals with a. So you tell me it's better to go into the finals as an underdog team that people are expecting to lose, than to go to as a team that people are expecting to win because your team is just so dominant because it's mainly you being the head of the snake on that team. Like, come on, bruh.
The lead LeBron spokesman, the lead LeBron whisperer, this guy is just terrible at his job. In response to David Falk's comments calling out LeBron James for cherry-picking teams, what did this guy do off the jump? He says verbatim, Michael never had to leave. Rich Paul, who are you arguing for? Are you pro-LeBron or pro-Jordan? Because that right there ends the entire debate. Yes, Michael Jordan never had to leave. LeBron left not once, twice, but 3 separate times, and still has 4 championships to MJ's 6. Now, Rich Paul having that self-own, he actually kind of catches himself, stops for a second, the gears are turning, says, I have to pivot, change my tactics, get a new argument. And what does he go to right away? A classic LeBron fan line. Well, Mike in the finals was never the underdog.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
And to add one thing there very quickly about being favored versus being the underdogs, there's pressure on both those teams. But honestly, being the favorite, much more pressure on you to get the job done. And looking at Jordan, when he was favored, had the higher seed, he was a perfect 24-0. LeBron James, his career, has lost 5 times with home court advantage.
Yo, we just watched a video on the letdown, and it was bringing up these series. All these 5 series right here, they brought up in the letdown thing. So y'all haven't watched that, tune into that definitely.
So saying Jordan was never the underdog, always the favorite, honestly means nothing. As looking at LeBron's career, even the NBA Finals has lost when favored.
An unlikely playoff run capped off by Dallas upsetting LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and the favored Miami Heat.
You lose! Good day, sir!
When looking at MJ's Bulls, one of the biggest problems I have with people nowadays, they just say this team, you know, they had 6 championships in the bag that were guaranteed a surefire hit. This Bulls team 1990, we didn't know what they'd be. And looking at 1991, that year's NBA Finals, yes, the Bulls technically were favored, but saying they were guaranteed to win it, they were going to waltz the championship, that in the moment isn't what anyone thought.
But it's Magic and Worthy and you know, all the experience, and who are these guys? I predict the Bulls are going to win in 5. And there's just this outrage in the media, you know, sort of how dare you, you know, it's an insult to the Lakers. Who are these guys?
The Chicago Bulls' domination of this series has to be considered a major surprise.
There was all these unwritten rules in sports, and the unwritten rule is sort of you got to get to the finals and lose before you can win.
What?
And so now it's Portland's turn. They had gone to the finals, lost to Detroit, and now it's their turn.
I think it was a combination of things. I'm not quite sure that everyone gave the Bulls the credit they deserved throughout the season. I think everyone felt the balance of power was in the West this year, that Portland, in fact, was the best team, and when the Lakers got by them, that the Lakers then were just going to put the Bulls away.
We can't have revisionist history.
So once again, someone like Rich Paul revising history for Michael Jordan. As Sam Smith right there had a very good pulse on the Bulls, as was the entire NBA in 1991. And according to him, Mike Fratello, really the entire NBA consensus, the Bulls in 91 were a very good team, but not a surefire hit to win the title. Even looking at 1993, the Bulls, coming off 2 straight championships, being fatigued, lagging, winning 3 straight titles is a very tall task.
Boy, Jordan was killing them boys out there, man.
And playing Phoenix that series, it was dead even. Then 1998, an even harder three-peat. The Bulls, yes, fatigued, they were tired, have won 2 straight titles. But at this point, they were also old. MJ winning 98 and 93, and heck, even 91, those series going into it, it was a toss-up. And if you want to say Jordan's Bulls were the favorite, I mean, honestly, I kind of believe you. They had Michael Jordan, the guy who in the finals did not lose. When you have LeBron James 2012 playing the Thunder, a young KD, young Westbrook, even younger Harden, and they're not favored to win that series, ask yourself, why is that? Because LeBron James 4 straight years had choked in the NBA playoffs. If LeBron hadn't folded versus Dallas in 2011 at 2012 finals, they'd have been easily favored. So right here, Jordan in a very weird way, being penalized for being too good, whereas LeBron James kind of given a cushion and booster seat for failing numerous times leading up to that year's finals.
Michael never had a 24-hour, 365 news cycle. He never had shows built strictly to criticize him. People made millions of dollars criticizing LeBron James. That was their entire job. And when you talk about the difficulty of it all, Michael played for Dean Smith. Michael played for...
Bro, you make it seem like ESPN wasn't a thing. Like, they've been criticizing players forever, bro. And LeBron gets criticized so much because he gives people a reason to criticize him so much. It's not like they're just getting... Like, bro, they not just finding most of these things out of thin air. Maybe some things get blown out of proportions, but you have to get something... For it to be blown out of proportion in the first place, you have to give us something to blow out of proportion. But so it's really y'all fault. Like, you can't be in the media doing these podcasts and then saying this and that and then getting upset when people respond back to you, man. Come on.
Phil Jackson, and Michael had Jerry Krause.
Are you really retarded?
So stopping Rich Paul right there, The typical LeBron fan sob story. You know, it's the king versus the world LeBron on his own. He has no coach, GM, sidekick. Heck,
he got no coach, no GM, no sidekick. LeBron by himself out there, man. That's what they saying. This is funny. This is funny, bro.
No superstar teammates. The constant LeBron James sob story just comes off as pathetic and whiny, and it's very off-putting. And what does Rich Paul do yet again? You know, the media hates LeBron James. It's so negative, so against him. Everyone hates LeBron. This right here is the epitome of being a diva. LeBron James, the media, yes, he has critics. His biggest critic being Skip Bayless back in the early 2010s. But now look at the NBA media. How many guys hate LeBron, bash him on a regular basis? It's few and far between. The guys who ride LeBron James, prop him up, that number is greater than ever. Guys like Nick Wright, Shannon Sharp, Colin Cowherd, Broussard, Perkins. The number of LeBron supporters in the media, it's bigger than ever. And compared to LeBron haters, they outnumber them probably 10-1. And still LeBron James, he's the victim. Rich Paul is crying and whining on his behalf.
Bro, Rich Paul literally said no facts the whole time. He's just manipulating stuff, bro. Literally, he's just manipulative. He hasn't said one single fact this whole video. At all. Rich Paul, man, this is an L.
I can't take it anymore.
And looking at Paul's second comment, well, you know, Jordan, he had Dean Smith, Phil Jackson, Jerry Krause. Yes, Rich Paul, we know. But again, using context. 1991, who was Phil Jackson? A second-year head coach who was unproven. Why Phil became Phil was in large part due to Jordan. If he jumped ship, never came back to 93, Phil Jackson isn't Phil Jackson. If LeBron in 2014 stays in South Beach, they retool, restack, another great roster, Eric Spoelstra might have 3, 4, even 5 championships. And at that point, Spoelstra, one of the all-time greatest coaches, even though right now, he already is. And look at someone like Dean Smith. I guess now it's Michael Jordan's fault he went to college, went to UNC, spent 3 years learning basketball. I mean, LeBron James could have gone to college, but he didn't want to. Whose fault is that? Are you guys seeing this?
Bro, I seen a clip too of LeBron when he said he didn't get trained in the NBA till like 4 years in, and he's never had an NBA trainer or a trainer when he was younger. This makes so much sense on why his footwork and like certain things, like he don't got no bag, bro. LeBron skipped college, which would have been development. He would have definitely learned new moves, footwork, technique. He would have learned all that stuff. He probably would have dominated in college too. I feel like him not going to college also hurt him. Him not going to college also hurt. I'm not sure if he would have dominated like that because I don't know what the college comp was back then. But he would have did his thing. We know that for sure, obviously. But him missing out on college is what hurt him for sure. He should have got that good coaching in college like Jordan did.
Strategy right here. Michael Jordan's being penalized retroactively for his career, his choices, his correct choices. Going to UNC, a phenomenal choice. Embracing Phil's system, winning 6 championships, another phenomenal choice. But now Jordan, 35 years later, gets penalized for one, being coachable and embracing great basketball minds.
If I may also just follow up on what I think is...
That's why LeBron isn't coachable, bro, because he's not even... You got to think, he's never even listened to a coach probably for real. Never. Like, he's never even had a trainer to train him until 4 years in. So, like, that whole stuff is new to him. Like, he probably didn't listen to nobody when it came to basketball stuff.
It's kind of a subtext of what he's saying as well that also dovetails into what a lot of media members have said about LeBron's business strategy as a player in this league is that he runs the team that he's on, that he makes the decisions about roster and he makes decisions about coaches, and I would love to put that in front of you and how you would respond to that.
And that's false.
So that right there is our last clip, and Rich Paul right here doing absolutely terrible PR that nobody's buying. Saying LeBron James is some innocent player, just plays basketball, clocks in, clocks out, that's never been true. Just as last year LeBron James had the team draft his son. If that wasn't bad enough, who they hired as the head coach? LeBron's former podcast buddy, JJ Redick. At this point in 2025, if you think LeBron James
That's crazy. Yeah, they really drafted LeBron's podcast buddy and his draft. They drafted his son, and they hired his podcast buddy within the same year. LeBron really got pulled like that on that team. That's crazy.
Didn't have input on rosters, trades, the overall direction of the franchise. You're a complete and utter moron. Rich Paul running PR for LeBron James is being so transparent. In the long run, it actually hurts LeBron James. Because Rich Paul, the individual, is completely unlikable. As you watch the full interview, it's tons of word salad, tons of spin, and just a lot of narratives. Honestly, Rich Paul will make a great politician. It's all fluff, all talk, no substance. Like we see time and time again, the entire LeBron GOAT case, or the entirety of Klutch Sports, is a house of cards. As always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.
Yeah, this is definitely like, that Rich Paul dude. Now I know what y'all talking about. He's definitely an idiot. Like he don't know what he's talking about, and I see what y'all mean with the narratives too. So they really been doing this, and they did the Kobe, and now you're trying to do the MJ. That's insane, man. That's crazy. They're just trying to ruin careers out there just to help out LeBron. When you gotta put down someone else to put yourself up, you're not doing it the right way, man. You're not doing it the right way at all. But if y'all enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Comment down below if you're new. Subscribe to the channel. It's your boy Tori Sama, and I'm out.